please be so kind to come a bit closer, that you have an idea how big this empire was in 1024. The small grey lines are the actual borders of today. For your imagination, what countries of today belonged to this empire in 1024? So you can see the Germany of today, yeah, the Netherlands, Belgium, very small Luxembourg, the eastern part of France, Switzerland of today, Austria of today, Slovenia of today, and more than the northern half of Italy of today. So if you look to the border in the south, even Rome, the capital of Italy, and that means the Pope and the Vatican were inside this empire. Okay, inside this empire. 1024. So Conrad became the emperor in 1024. Before he was elected, Conrad was the duke of this area around Speyer. This was his homeland. Yeah? Okay. So, and Heinrich and Gregor, they had many troubles. The question was, who is allowed to change bishops? You know, to depose bishops, yeah, and to set other men on the bishop's chair, to change bishops. And the Pope of Rome, Gregor VII, said, well, I'm the Pope, I'm the Pope of the Church, this is only my responsibility. Only I am allowed to change bishops. And Heinrich IV, the Kaiser, said, well, what you are doing outside my empire, I don't care. But inside my empire, I will decide who will become bishop, when and where. So he was excommunicated by Gregor VII twice. The first excommunication was taken back again, and he was again a member of the church. And then, after having changed some bishops, he was excommunicated the second time. And after having been excommunicated the second time, he went with a big army to Rome, round about 30,000 men. He occupied Rome and he deposed the Pope. So as the cathedral looks to you today, it looks since 1106. When it was finished and consecrated the second time. Okay, two building phases. Building phase 1 and building phase 2. 1106, right? Okay. So, just for your imagination, Conrad, the layer of the foundation stone, he died in 1039. In 1039, and was buried in this cathedral, which was finished in 1061. Can you imagine that? Yeah? Can you imagine that? The whole burial ceremony, including the big stone coffin, took place right in the middle of a building site. He was buried in the building site in 1039. And you can remember the man sitting on the throne, Heinrich III, the son of the layer of the foundation stone, died in 1056, still 5 years before the cathedral was finished, and was buried beside his father, still in a building site. And the man fighting with the wolf, Heinrich IV, the deposer of the Pope, he was present at the consecration ceremony as an 11-year-old boy. And when he mounted the throne in the age of 16, he became the emperor in the age of 16, and he became 56 years old. So he had a 40 years lasting reign from 16 to 56. For the Middle Ages, very, very long. And he was the initiator of building phase 2. He said, what my grandfather had begun, that's not big enough. Yeah? I want the cathedral much bigger than this one. We will rebuild it, and I want symbolism in the architecture. For example, I want 4 towers symbolizing the 4 Gospels. 1 tower for each Gospel: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yeah? So the first cathedral had no symbolism, and in the second version, finished in 1106, there is a lot of symbolism in the architecture, in concern to the Holy Bible, right? I will give you a few examples when we are at the other side. Okay. Good. Especially if one person is going upstairs and another person downstairs at the same time. When they leave, they have a big problem. Yeah, but okay, this was only a joke. Please look to the top of this defensive installation. At the very left-hand side, there you can see another spire. Can you? So this tells you there is a second tower, including a staircase. There are 2 staircases. And if I give you now just 3 seconds to think about it, you will find the solution on your own. Okay? Yes. 1 up, 1 down. Yeah? They use 1 tower only for going upstairs, and the other one only for going downstairs. Then they have this half column right beside the small round window. Do you all have it? Yes. The relief sculpture? Okay. If you have the right position, then you can see that there is a symmetry in this relief sculpture. Can you? Mm-hmm. You can say the left half is the mirror image of the right half, or the other way round. You can? Okay. So now, please find out what you can see. I will describe it for you. And if you cannot see what I will describe, then you are kindly invited to come closer to me and look to my photograph. So my photograph is showing more the left-hand side of this relief sculpture, but we all know now that the right-hand side is the mirror image of the left-hand side. Huh? Okay. So first of all, in the middle you can see 2 men standing side by side, shoulder by shoulder. And if you look to the bellies of these 2 gentlemen, you can see there are another 2 heads in front of their bellies. These are the heads of animals. And you can see the body of these animals and the legs. And these animals are lions. Now you may say, they do not look like lions. I agree with you, they do not look like lions. Imagine, we are in Middle Europe. Before 1106, building phase 2. This medieval artist very likely has never seen a lion in his life. Yeah? Okay, and on each of the 2 lions you can see there is another young man sitting on lion's back, holding 1 arm like that. And from the top, on each side from the top, there is a snake hanging down, the mouth wide open, and the hand of the young man sitting on lion's back is in the mouth of the snake. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lady. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You can see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah? There's the snake hanging down. Yes. The mouth wide open, the young man sitting on lion's back. Yeah? The other side, just the mirror image. Okay? Everybody can see it? And you say message in this relief sculpture. Well, therefore we have specialists. The specialists are, in this case, the art historians and the theologians. And in this case, they say in unison, this medieval artist wanted to express the promised reign of peace, and it is promised in the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament of the Holy Bible. So if you look at the book of Isaiah, in chapter 11, you will find a description which tells the reader when the Messiah will once appear on earth. Then it will be so peaceful that even the wild animals will not be dangerous anymore. You can sit on lion's back, the lion stays calm and peaceful, and the snake will not bite. The original words of the Holy Bible, chapter 11, Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6 and the following verses are as follows. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The sucking child shall play over the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the adder stem. Right? These are the original words of the Holy Bible. So this is the interpretation of the. Unfortunately, we have no documents, so we must help us with interpretation. Okay. By the way, this is my Sunday church, right? But I do not show you this church because it's my Sunday church. I show you this church because it is inside a jewel of Baroque timberwork. It would be a pity to have been inspired, really inspired, and not have seen this church inside. So, and on the way to our next site, to the Lutheran Trinity Church, because I do not want to waste time, I will tell you the story concerning the big stone bowl in front of the cathedral. Because to tell you the story, it's not necessary to stand here all the time. All the Protestant churches, the Catholics, they still had the big cathedral, which was also a bit damaged, but could still be used for services. So it was necessary, when Speyer was rebuilt, it was necessary very soon to build a Protestant church for the Protestant inhabitants. So it was built between 1701 and 1717. So it took them 16 years to build it, right? And it was a Protestant church from the very beginning. Many visitors, when they see the church inside, they say that must have been a Catholic church. Right? And you can use this one as well. Well, I think I didn't promise too much when I said it is a jewel of Baroque timberwork. And there are another 4 specialties we can see inside. The first specialty, ladies and gentlemen, is the position of the organ. Because normally the organs are above the main entrance. So when you enter the church, you pass the organ, you walk below the organ, and when you sit in the church, the organ is in the back of you, and here the organ is right above the altar. And this was done on purpose to demonstrate how important music was in the Lutheran church service at the beginning of the 18th century when this church was built. So, can you see the light spot of my lamp?
Yes.
4, 5. They have all something to do with music. Yeah? For example, at the right-hand side, you can see a man wearing a crown who is playing the harp. Yeah? So obviously, the Jewish King David. Or right here, you can see an angel who is playing a kind of cello. Yeah? Or for example, here you can see an angel who is playing drums, and smaller angels with trumpets. So all the 5 pictures above the organ, they have something to do with music, to underline, to stress how important music was in the Lutheran church service. Yeah, and the second specialty in this church are all the paintings at the ceiling and at the 2 galleries. I start with the 2 galleries. Altogether 74 paintings. Don't count them, just believe me. The upper gallery is showing scenes of the Old Testament in a chronological way, and the lower gallery is showing scenes of the New Testament in a chronological way, right? So we do not have to fight the nestlings with its blood, to keep them alive and to take the risk to die. So the bird is showing self-sacrifice, right? Okay, and the last specialty in this church are the double-seated pews, but only the first 3 rows. From row number 4 onwards, they are all single-seated. Only the first 3 rows of the pews are double-seated. I will just demonstrate it one. Yeah? If you come to the church service, by the way, every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock in here, and you decide to use one of the first 3 rows of the pews, first you sit like that. Then you can look to the altar. The pastor stands behind the altar when the service begins. But the main part of the Protestant service is the sermon, the tremendous speech of the pastor. And for the sermon, the pastor leaves the altar and mounts the pulpit. Yeah? So the sermon is held from the pulpit. So if the first 3 rows would be single-seated, you can imagine it would be very uncomfortable, to see the pastor, to look to the pastor during the sermon. So for the sermon, you can just switch to the other side. Then you do not have to turn your head that far, and it's more comfortable, and you can look to the pastor. Yeah? So and when the sermon is finished, the pastor goes back to the altar. Then you can switch again and sit as you did at the beginning. Just for the comfort of the users, because of the position of the pulpit, right? So these are the specialties in this church. And over there, at the left-hand side, in the first row, right in the middle, there I was sitting in 1965 as a 14-year-old boy when I had my confirmation celebration in this church. Okay. Yeah. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, time is running. said, well, the Jews, they have put poison in our wells. This was a lie, of course, definitely. But to have a reason to kill them, and you can imagine many of the Christians had borrowed money by the Jews. And during such an epidemic of the Black Death, to say they have put poison in our wells, for some of the Christians it was a good chance to get clear of debt by killing the landmark. That's a very, very dark point in the history of this town. No, not now. So, please be so kind and come in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, maybe we turn it up. Okay, please be so kind. Follow me. That the person who wants to take a bath in the mikvah has to clean the body carefully before. They have to be absolutely clean when they show up, right? So, not for cleaning the body. For what is it? You are all familiar, I think, with the Jewish word kosher. Mainly, they use it in connection with food. If food is kosher, can be eaten or unkosher. But you can also use this word kosher for the human body. Normally, a human body is kosher. Under special circumstances, in special cases, the body can become unkosher. And to make an unkosher body kosher again, therefore, they go to the mikvah and take a bath. I would like to give you a few examples that you have an idea when a human body can become unkosher. For example, after a visit on the cemetery, they were unkosher because the cemetery is an impure area. All the dead bodies in the ground, rotting, so they had to go to the mikvah after a visit on the cemetery. After having had a contagious disease, a kind of infection, they were sane again but not kosher anymore. They had to go and take a bath. After having had a skin contact to a dead body, and as you all know, the Jews, they wash the dead bodies carefully before they bury them. A male dead body washed by men, a female dead body washed by women. And if you have to wash the dead body, you can't avoid the skin contact, so they were unkosher and had to take a bath. And then there were 3 special rules only for women. A woman was automatically unkosher after the menstruation. She was unkosher after having born a child. And she had to go to the mikvah and take a bath just in case to be kosher before the wedding night. These were the 3 special rules only for the women. So what they had to do in the mikvah, they had to be completely naked. It was not allowed to wear anything, even no jewelry or things like that, chains, rings and whatever, nothing, completely naked. They had to go into the pool with the ritual water, and they had to go down to submerge the body completely underwater, completely 3 times, one after the other. Stand up, go down a second time, stand up and go down a 3rd time. There was no limitation. Who wanted to do it 4, 5, 6 times was allowed to do so, but not less than 3 times. And then they were kosher again, right? The sexes were always separated in the mikvah. There were special days only for women, special days only for men, never mixed. And if you ask a rabbi what kind of water has to be in a mikvah, a rabbi would answer living water. But what is living water? Well, 3 kinds of waters are allowed. Either rainwater is allowed, or clear, clean, flowing water of a creek, for example, is allowed. Or, like here at Speyer, you can imagine, stairs are leading down. Natural groundwater is allowed. Natural, so this is a natural groundwater mikvah. So, because it's groundwater, you can imagine it's very cold all over the year. There's only a little difference between summer and winter. In summer, when it's awful hot in Speyer, and in Speyer it is awful hot in July and August, up to 100 Fahrenheit in Speyer. So never more than 56 Fahrenheit, never more than 56. And in winter, when it's cold, sometimes it's also cold in Speyer, and we have sometimes a bit frost during the night, but never less than 46. It's only a difference of 10 Fahrenheit between summer and winter. So it's cold all over the year. Under men we say the water is that cold. You got it. So now I would like you to have a look, to go down. I will stay here. You can hear me, but when you're in the mikvah, and I will go on with my information that you know where you have to look and so on. Yeah, please start. The mikvah was moved, there were no entrances at that time, so these niches, these stone benches, tell you that the staircase was the waiting room. One of these niches waiting for their.
This is a waiting room.
So at the end of the stairs comes to an empty room.
Could you see? I'm going down.
It's just like a pool themselves. Don't fall down.
It's a pool of water. Did you want to go down?
What does it go to?
Huh?
What does it go to?
Pool of water.
How far is it?
It's right here.
Oh.
It'd be pretty cold.
in 1689 by the French as well. Yeah? Normally in Germany, you know, when you see a ruin of a former Jewish building, normally they think the Nazis had ruined this building. Yeah? But okay, well, the Nazis, they had done many crimes against humanity, but they are not guilty for everything, you know. This synagogue was destroyed by the French in 1689. Well, I do not want to speak about old stones now, but I think it's more important that you have an idea between the building of this synagogue, which was built by Christians, by the way, not by the Jews themselves, and building phase 2 of the cathedral. You can remember I told you building phase 2 of the cathedral was finished in 1106. The synagogue 2 years earlier in 1104. And the historical background is as follows. At the beginning, or during building phase 2 of the cathedral, the Bishop of Speyer had a financial problem. He was running out of money, and he was afraid not to be able to finish the cathedral. So he needed money, and he thought about how to get money. It was absolutely clear to him that he could not raise the taxes because of his reputation. And then he said, well, I can't raise the taxes, but I can increase the number of the taxpayers. I will increase especially the number of the prosperous taxpayers. From prosperous people I can take more taxes than from poor people. And in our empire there are many prosperous Jewish families. I want that more prosperous Jewish families come to Speyer, settle down here, pay their taxes to me. But why should they do that? Well, the Bishop of Speyer said, we have to make Speyer more attractive for the Jews. We will build a synagogue for them. When the synagogue is finished, then we will build a mikveh for them. Outside the town, I will give them a place where we will build a wall around, and they can use this place as a cemetery. Huh? They can bury their dead persons there. And remember what I told you on the way, and I will give them privileges. And this plan, this package together, to provide the infrastructure the Jews need for a religious life, and to give them privileges, this plan worked. And then many families came to Speyer, Jewish families, and settled down, and the Jewish community was exploding, and the bishop had more income in taxes, and he could finish the cathedral. So building phase 2 of the cathedral was mainly financed by Jewish taxes. And this is the historical, the real background why Christians built the synagogue. They did not do it because of philanthropy, because they were so friendly to the Jews. No, to make Speyer more attractive, to have more Jews settle down in Speyer, to have more income to finish the cathedral. This was the historical background, right? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot my watch. I do not know. Okay, I think we stop now. Yeah, and. Your cruise manager told me to stop at past. Okay, 1961, and the smaller shows the minutes 1848. That means before 1848, there was just the big dog face with one end showing the hours, and this was enough for the inhabitants of Speyer. Nobody was interested in minutes. They even and then the minutes were important. Suddenly, you can really say from one day to the other, a station was built, and from that day, in July 1848, when the station was inaugurated and the train traffic started, the minutes were important, the day before not. And then they put the smaller clock face below, give the inhabitants the chance to read the time exactly. Huh? And still today our clock has two clock faces with one hand each. Okay, so this is a St. James pilgrim on his way to Santiago de Compostela, Spain. Yeah? Okay, good. So, well, please come close.
Unusual at all. Yeah. When we home that you walked on the corn gasa. Makes all the difference. It's not as crowded here. But no,
Maybe they thought
it was
he-
starting at 4.
Maybe he thought we were coming in to see the service?
Yeah, it was starting at 4.
I don't know.
Nein, sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Don't stick in. Ah, ja.
Hallo? Hallo? Können wir in die Kirche reingehen? Zum Gottesdienst? Dürfen wir in die Kirche reingehen zum Gottesdienst?
Es ist kein Gottesdienst, sondern es ist ein Konzert seit 16 Uhr.
Konzert?
Ja, und abends schließlich um 18 Uhr Abendmesse. Also bis um 5 Uhr ist jetzt heute nicht mehr möglich.
Ich wollte beten.
Geht jetzt nicht mehr mit zum Konzert seit 4 Uhr.
Dankeschön.
Bitte schön.
This is Nicole.
Konzert.
Konzert.
Thank you. Dankeschön. Oh, well, that settles that.
So I wonder why he said, maybe he thought we were coming for the concert? Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, we're just closed.
Can we go down here a minute? Just want to see something.
I guess.
Heide. Aber auch so das Mädchen alles.
Get behind me. Yeah, just get behind me.
Okay.